There is a moment, on clear nights, when the sky seems to make a sound of its own. Not a real sound, but an imagined rustle, as if the Milky Way were a dark sea and the stars were foam that glitters. And yet, if we truly listen, with the most sensitive instruments humanity has ever built, that sea is almost mute. It is not the reassuring silence of an empty room, but an immense, ancient silence, heavy with expectation. Every point of light is a sun, and around many of those suns orbit planets. Today we know this with a certainty that only a few decades ago would have seemed like science fiction. Planets are common, and some are similar in size to Earth. The chemistry that makes life possible, carbon, water, energy, is not rare. The ingredients are there. So why does no one speak? The question seems simple, but it is a conceptual trap. Because the universe is not a living room where you only need to raise your voice. It is a stretch of inhuman distances where even light takes years, centuries, millennia to cross the space between one star and another. When we look far away, we look back in time. A possible signal may have already passed, or may not yet have arrived. And above all, we might not recognize it. We often search in the ways we know how to communicate: radio waves, regular pulses, mathematical patterns. But this is a cultural, technological, historical choice. Earth has emitted, by accident, a radio imprint for a surprisingly short time. Powerful television and radio broadcasts, the ones that escape the atmosphere and expand into space like a bubble, belong to an era that may last only briefly. Today many communications are by cable, by fiber, by direct and compressed signals. It is as if a city, after lighting gigantic beacons for a few decades, had begun to use shielded lights and whispers in underground corridors. If every civilization passes through a short, noisy phase, the cosmos could be full of intelligences and yet almost always silent to our ears. Moreover, the noise of the universe is not the absence of sound, but a chaos of natural emissions. Stars that shine in radio, magnetospheres that crackle, interstellar plasma that distorts and absorbs. Finding a message in there is like looking for a single drop of ink in an ocean that is constantly changing. And then there is the most merciless factor: power. A signal that travels tens or hundreds of light years weakens until it becomes a statistical shadow. To make it evident, one must transmit intentionally, with enormous energy, or use techniques that we ourselves might mistake for natural phenomena if we did not already have the answer in mind. At this point the question changes shape. It is no longer, why is there no one, but, why do we see no one? And here enters the paradox that has unsettled generations. If the galaxy is old and full of stars, and if intelligent life is not an unrepeatable miracle, then someone could have colonized or at least left traces, probes, structures, signals, in times far shorter than the age of the Milky Way. And yet, around us, nothing. No evident, cosmic construction site, no stellar engineering that stands out like a signature. It is an enigma that forces us to look not only outward, but also inward, at our idea of life and progress. Perhaps we imagine civilizations as enlarged versions of ourselves. Expansive, noisy, curious enough to send radio postcards into the dark. But intelligence could follow different trajectories. It could choose caution. It could have ethics we find incomprehensible. It could have no interest at all in being noticed. And it could also be trapped, not by physical chains, but by biological, economic, social limits, or by cosmic dangers we have only just begun to sense. Because to last a long time, a civilization must learn to survive itself, its own weapons, its own hunger for energy, its own mistakes. And it is here that silence begins to resemble not a simple lack, but a consequence. If there is a critical point, a narrow passage that almost no one gets through, then the starry sky could be full of failed attempts, of worlds that lit the spark of mind for a moment and then lost it. And if this narrow passage were ahead of us, or behind us, like an invisible filter, then every cosmic rustle we do not hear becomes a question about destiny, not only of the universe, but of Earth itself, and about what kind of trace we leave as we cross our brief stretch of technological time. If that narrow passage exists, it could be hidden at many points in the history of life. It might lie at the beginning, when chemistry must become biology, when molecules reacting at random begin to copy themselves, to compete, to build membranes, to invent a metabolism. On Earth, that leap happened very early, but we do not know whether it was easy or an almost unrepeatable stroke of luck. It could lie further on, in the transition from simple cells to complex ones, with nuclei, organelles, stable cooperation. Here Earth took an extraordinarily long time, almost as if life hesitated for billions of years before daring more sophisticated structures. Or the filter could be even more recent, the emergence of technological intelligence capable of manipulating the planet, of writing, of building tools, of transmitting information beyond its own body. Our species appeared in a cosmic blink of an eye. And our industrial phase, seen from the outside, is a spark that lasted only an instant. If many civilizations are born, but few remain stable long enough to communicate or expand, then the silence is not surprising. It is a cruel statistic. Every step toward powerful technology also brings new risks: concentrated energy, fragile production chains, global-scale conflicts, climate alteration, loss of biodiversity, information systems that can destabilize societies faster than wisdom can mature. There is no need to imagine spectacular catastrophes. The slow accumulation of tensions is enough, the gradual erosion of resilience. A civilization can go out without exploding, like a star that does not become a supernova but cools until it is no longer visible. And even when it survives, it might change form. It could become post-biological, transfer its consciousness into artificial substrates, minimize waste, compress its signals, choose to live in controlled environments, perhaps even near its own star to exploit its energy more efficiently. From afar, such a civilization would not look like a luminous metropolis, but like an efficient and discrete system. It might be more like an encoded whisper than a shout. And we, with our criteria, might not distinguish it from background noise. There is also another unsettling possibility: that it is not prudence but fear. In a universe where you do not know the intentions of others, making yourself noticed may seem risky. If natural history favors competition and defense, a civilization might develop a simple strategy: observe without revealing itself. Not because it is inevitably hostile, but because vulnerability is real and distances do not guarantee safety. A message can reveal your position, your biology, your technology, even your limits. In this scenario, silence would be a rule of survival. Those who transmit too much are eliminated, or at least discouraged, and only those who learn to remain quiet endure. But even this image may be too human, too bound to our instincts. Perhaps the explanation is more peaceful and at the same time stranger. We could be in a kind of cosmic reserve, a place where mature civilizations choose not to interfere, like biologists observing an ecosystem without entering it, so as not to alter its evolution. In that case, silence is not absence but choice. And the choice may be motivated by ethics, by curiosity, or by the awareness that premature contact can destroy emerging cultures, make them dependent, break their autonomous development. Here too, however, there is a detail that makes everything more complex. We are not only listening for radio waves. We are beginning to look for indirect traces, technological signatures that do not require an intentional message. A planet with an atmosphere altered by industry, with gases that would not normally coexist, could betray artificial activity. Gigantic structures to collect energy, if they exist, could leave an imprint on how a star emits light and heat. Even the space between the stars could contain wandering objects, ancient probes, remnants of interstellar missions. But here comes another lesson of silence. Even the largest traces are difficult to see, because we are looking through an imperfect cosmic glass. Our measurements are still young, our catalogs incomplete, and the universe is a master at producing natural imitations of what we might mistake for artificial. Every time we think we have found a clue, we must ask ourselves whether it is not a dust cloud, a magnetic field, a stellar process we do not yet understand. Silence, then, could also be a limit of our scientific maturity. We are only just learning to read the spectrum of a distant planet. We are only just learning to distinguish the voice of a world from the chorus of its star. And the more we learn, the deeper the question becomes. What are we really looking for when we look for others? Perhaps we are seeking confirmation that intelligence is not an isolated accident. We are looking for a sign that thought can flourish in many ways. But we might also discover that life is common and intelligence rare, or that intelligence is common and noisy technology extremely rare, or that civilizations last a long time but hide behind languages and forms of energy we have not yet imagined. We might even be living in a stretch of galactic history in which the conditions for complex life have only just become favorable, after billions of years of violent radiation and instability, and therefore the cosmic neighborhood is biologically young. In that case, the silence would be temporary, like a hall before the concert begins. And there is an even subtler possibility, that the universe is not silent, but that its music is not made for ears like ours. It could be written in neutrinos, in extremely narrow lasers, in modulations of gravity, in mathematical structures that do not need a radio carrier. It could be a distributed, slow communication, using times as long as planetary orbits. We are used to haste, because we live briefly. And yet the universe thinks in eras. Perhaps the question, why does no one speak, arises from our rhythm, not from its own. The silence that surrounds us could be a mirror of our position. A young species, with still crude instruments, listening for the first time and mistaking calm for emptiness. But even if one day we were to find nothing, not a trace, not a distant echo, that silence would not be useless. It would force us to understand how fragile and precious the consciousness we know truly is. It would remind us that, among billions of stars, there exists at least one place where the universe has learned to look at itself and to ask questions. And while we continue to point antennas and telescopes into the dark, the most important part is not only what we might receive, but what we choose to become. Because if the sky is silent for hard reasons, then the answer is not only out there. It is also in the way we cross our filter, in the way we learn not to extinguish ourselves, and in the kind of voice we will decide to use when, finally, we have something worth saying. If you have made it this far, it means you love curiosity as much as we do. If you enjoyed this journey, leave a like, write a comment, and subscribe to the channel. It is the best way to support what we do. Your presence truly makes a difference. Until the next exploration.